5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
So hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel and another video. So we are back at the Coalville Wheelers 10-mile time trial. It's been a few months actually since I last rocked up to one of these. For anybody who's seen sort of more recent videos, I've been traveling around a little bit, at least sort of half an hour or so really, to other local 10-mile TTs rather than just keep doing the sort of same and closest Ilkeston and Long Eaton Cycle Club weekly 10. We'll probably get back to that course now over the next couple of weeks because South Pennine and Hinckley, they're either monthly or sort of bi-weekly. So I have a bit of a gap next week, but we'll get into that in sort of future videos. So I think this is my 5th time, or 6th time actually, to correct myself, the 6th time that I've raced this, now into my 3rd year of time trialing. And this was my 3rd quickest, so I was about I was exactly 24 seconds slower than my PB on this, which I set last August. But probably a couple of sort of standout points really for me was, first of all, this is actually the first race that I've enjoyed, at least to this level now, for quite some time. Mostly because I think I actually paced it quite well, rather than sort of getting 2/3 of the way through and then basically suffering more than I should. So yeah, that definitely added to the enjoyment. And I think otherwise, it's quite helpful having ridden this, like I say, 5-6 times out, and then also I have wrecked it a few times as well, so you kind of know where to push on, where not to, etc, etc. This normally attracts a pretty significant number of riders, not least sort of neighbouring clubs, but it's pretty well known, and sort of the profile of the course tells you as much, that it should be pretty quick. So I was 21:23 on the night. So as I say, 24 seconds off of a PB, which was 20:59 set in August of last year. This course will come around in August as well. And looking sort of where I am at the minute in terms of fitness and power, all that good stuff, I should be, assuming we have comparable conditions, because that's clearly going to play a part. But yeah, otherwise I should be. So I was going to say peaking. That's maybe a stretch, but yeah, I should be at least be on for a half decent time. More than anything, hopefully the body's kind of up to it. Just back a couple of weeks really after sort of complete rest. Get back into the swing of work and start picking up training and all that good stuff. I am on the giant Trinity. I think I've had this now for maybe 6-7 weeks. Off the top of my head, I think this is the 4th time that I've actually raced on it. Done quite a number of sort of training rides on it now, and really starting to feel at home, shall we say, and also getting used to the helmet, having moved over to the Giro Aerohead 2. Very mixed to start off with, but this was the first race as well where I actually felt like I got it in the right position, visibility was good, and was really sort of able to push on, and head, shoulders, etc. were nicely relaxed. I will actually probably use one of the pictures that was taken on the night as the thumbnail, looking very aero. Otherwise, so yeah, normally you'd get a lot more riders on this course. I think probably a couple of, well, in fact, the only thing really that I can kind of attribute it to, so there was 30 riders actually on the night, I should say that. In the past, there's been closer to 40, in some cases maybe even over 40. But we are actually right at the start of the UK school holiday for summer. And actually where this is and sort of the neighbouring area, the kids have been off now for probably about a week, 10 days. So I suspect that there are a number of people on holiday. Certainly it wouldn't have been the conditions that sort of deterred people. We were about 21, 22 degrees on the night, pretty light wind, a favourable wind as well. So yeah, it was a bit of a surprise. I mean, by the time I got there was sort of just before 6 o'clock. I was rider 21 off, and as I say, I think there was around about 30 on the night. If there was any more than that, it's only going to be 31. So yeah, that was a bit of a surprise, but clearly people phoning it in because when I arrived, the car park wasn't particularly full, but yeah, I was already rider 21. So yeah, it was pretty good really, and I'm pleased that the conditions were quite nice, and that I'd been able to get a couple of weeks training back in, because whenever the Coalville Wheelers events calendar comes out, this is the course that I look at. First of all, how many times are we doing it, and then second, actually, when are they? And I've clearly always keeping my fingers crossed that I'm not on holiday. Typically it tends to be July, August, and then they use sort of sections of this either for season opener or the sort of last couple. I missed the last couple last year due to work. It's only a 4.3 mile. It's a hell of a lot of fun, and it's basically down to this roundabout and then back, and for 4.3 miles for what is somewhere between an 8 to 10 minute effort, you can kind of afford really to go sort of all in. So otherwise, I'm not going to talk all over this one. We'll get back to a couple of get back to the just tarmac and wind noise as per normal. It's peeing down today, so I've been holding off actually putting anything in terms of content together, because I've basically going to have a day of it. So a bit of a social ride in there. I should be able to finish off my giant Trinity sort of 100 plus mile review. Actually, I'm probably closer to 200 miles now, just because the weather's been so good. So rather than messing around making content for YouTube, which let's face it, doesn't get an absolute ton of views and isn't going to make me rich, it's something that I keep really for basically when I can't get outside and ride. Last thing to say, so I was held up a couple of times, but hopefully it's come across that overall I was actually pretty pleased with how this ride went. My power was half decent. I can probably squeeze another sort of 10 to 20 watts out if I'm brutally honest. Easy to say sort of in hindsight, but considering where training rides are at the moment, I'd be pretty confident of getting back up to that kind of power come August when we go on this one again. I do have a couple of other races planned in the meantime, hopefully get back to Hinckley, etc, etc. But before I wrap this up, so I was held up a couple of times. Actually, when I get back to the top of this road, which is going to be a couple of miles, there was like a 3-car queue, something like that. Didn't bring me to a halt, thank God, but yeah, speed dropped right off down to about sort of 19-20 kilometers an hour, whereas normally you would probably be into the sort of 26 to 30 mark. If there's nothing there and the road's clear, then you can obviously keep into the right side of the road, i.e. behind the white line, but yeah, you can sort of take that a bit wider and then sort of cut across into the corner. So that will have cost me a couple of seconds, and then probably the last half mile, 3/4 of a mile, there's an ambulance that came past and there was a bit of traffic up the road, car traffic that is, and so in fairness, guys did the right thing. They pulled in order to let the ambulance go past, but then as a consequence it did slow things down by probably a couple of kilometers an hour, so again will have cost me a couple of seconds, and I think all in that probably would have brought me closer to second place on the night, whereas I finished third. and that also would have meant that I probably would have been on par with my second quickest time on this course. So these things happen. This is sort of the gift and the curse of racing on open roads ultimately. But I'm not going to get hung up on that and whinge, because overall, as I did, as I sort of started out with, really, I actually had a good time. And cycling back then to the start, managed to catch up with one or two people who I've not seen for a little while. And rather than me whinging about being held up and all the rest of it, who cares? I had fun. And at the end of the day, that's why I got into this thing in the first place. I'm never going to be national champion. It's just for the enjoyment, really, and to give me something to aim for. So we will wrap this one up. Going to be a couple more videos coming over the next week or so, and definitely at least one a week kind of after that. Although if the heat wave comes back, then inevitably there will be a lull. If you have any comments or questions about the course, the club, etc., then do drop them in the comment section below. Otherwise, big thumbs up, subscribe if you would like to see more, and thank you very much for watching.
21.